It is big news, and that is BlackRock playing into the ETF game for Ethereum, not necessarily Bitcoin, Ethereum. We'll be breaking down all that for you guys today. My name is Paul Vera. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, thanking our sponsor, and that is Tangem. If you guys are looking at self-custody, this is the place to go. Get over to Tangem.com. You can kind of see here on their website how their app works and their card. Very easy. You just tap it to the phone. Very simple, elegant. One of the best wallet functions out there that I've seen. And it does a lot in terms of options. You can set this thing up in like 3 minutes. A couple of things you can do is you can get a lot of backups for you. So you can go to the 2-card route or a 3-card route. If you just click over there on Get Tangem, use that 3-card set because that's going to give you your backup to carry along with maybe a secure one that you could put away. So it's just a good one and it's worth the extra money. Use our link down below. It's going to get you an extra 10% off. And you can get into self-custody. Move your crypto off of exchanges into your self-custody wallets. All right, let's get into a topic today that I think everybody's going to talk about, and that is Ethereum being an ETF. This is crazy. This could be absolute big news. This came from a tweet that I think shook the ETH world. The iShares Ethereum Trust has just been registered in Delaware. Now, for context, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust was registered in a similar manner 7 days before they filed the ETF application with the SEC. Details below. And this was the breakdown. Even Eric Balashunas hit on it. It says, no shocker, ETH up 8% on the news, but the move started a good hour before my QT or Summer's original tweet, which was the tweet we just showed you. Larry Fink also is in a clip right here talking about ESG. Now, this is an important statement because when you think about ETH and their move to true proof of stake versus proof of work, changes the game a little bit. Listen into what he had to say.
The reason why I backtrack from the term ESG, because it means something to every different person. It's almost so amorphous that you can't put your hands around it. I would say most of the funds, when you speak about it, are more in the terms of environmental.
Yeah.
And we just did a survey where 56% of our global investors are going to put more and more investments in decarbonization. And in fact, over 50% of our clients said this is their number one priority. Of the people who voted, of the 56%. All $9.1 trillion is our client's choice. Even our investors who invest in ETFs. We don't work with any one individual investor. We work with financial advisors, and they choose to invest at BlackRock because we have the best returns in some categories or something like that. So this has been way taken out of proportion. And in fact, we voted against almost most of the proposals that, quote unquote, were environmental last year. And the reason why, and I think you'll appreciate this, is the SEC changed the standards to what can be included in a proxy conference, vote. And most of it is non-economic, and we vote against it. Our fiduciary responsibility is to provide research, and we have research, and we believe through research that that's going to be a pathway of making excess returns over the next 30 years.
Okay, so he hits on a couple of things there is that, ESG, just the term, but the vision and the idea behind, more responsible actions within our environment and the companies that participate in those is still real. But I think the key here is there's a lot of blockchains that are also practicing this as well. I want to go over to this next clip and listen to what Fink talks about around payments, art, ETFs, the functionality of what crypto and blockchain could bring. Listen in.
The global climate in all kinds of ways, all contributing to these inflationary pressures. In your view, is crypto emerging as a possible alternative kind of hedge to, people have typically looked at gold?
In one of the meetings I had, I met with this Afghani woman who is trying to empower women in Afghanistan, but you can't make payments to the banking systems because it's controlled by the Taliban. And she's providing payment using Bitcoin through crypto. But crypto has caught the imagination of millions and millions of people. When you see a contemporary piece of art that's selling over $100 million and somebody is ascribing a value to that artist and it's trading, and I think that's what Bitcoin is. And I'm hearing more and more from different parties of the world where they want to diversify.
So you're looking to provide investment products for...
We filed with the SEC, which I can't talk about it, a spot market Bitcoin ETF with the full transparency of what an ETF can be. And
you're confident you're going to get that approved, those approvals?
You know the regulatory atmosphere right now. If confident, I'd be a fool. But I think we created a safe and sound product.
All right, so he's talking about bringing a lot of different, products to the market, and that does mean if he is interested in payments, it's going to make its way through into the ETH ecosystem, the Solana ecosystem, all these other ecosystems out there that have payment really at the front line versus what has been happening with Lightning and Bitcoin. Just to give you guys a quick look at where talking about exploding, right here is ordinals. Of course, another big push right here recently with ordinals now with all-time fees at 64 million. So continuing to grow here. Now remember, with ordinals exploding at a time in which we have Bitcoin exploding, it starts to create some interesting situations. And this is the Bitcoin average transaction fee. It's a historical chart. I know you guys love this right here, which is the little south chart transaction. This is the pending transactions right here with Ethereum and Bitcoin. And you can kind of see, look at the fee, low fee line right now. As of recording, 135,000 over here in the low fee line of ETH, 75,000. You see the flow through rate different. But remember, understand that these just so you guys know how to read this, these big heads up here on the top, these are whales. These are people who are paying additional fees to get these transactions moved. And that, again, gets into a big issue. But the fact that we've got this many people waiting to either make payments or move crypto, Bitcoin specifically, is pretty significant. All right, a couple other things I want to hit on. And that is Raul Paul. He hits up on a tweet right here. I think his statement's pretty straightforward. ETH ETF, holy grail for asset managers, as they can capture the yield and only give price performance to the ETF holders. Think about that for a second. You've got this massive, asset that you could capture on yields, meaning you're staking that, and then you're just basically turning that profitability on the asset holder or the ETF holder to those assets. So this could be a huge advantage over a Bitcoin ETF, just so you understand the yield scenario that's playing out on this right now. Right there, total value lock, you can kind of see the last time we hit this number, you'll see where we are right now, 16.95 billion. We were back here in this period of May of 2022. Pretty big deal. Here's Beacon Scan just to show you the growth of validators on Ethereum. This is a 6-month chart, but you can kind of see it right here, 668,000. This is just 6 months ago, back in May. Where we are right now, over 1 million validators. This is massive growth. That's 40% plus growth since May. Also, just to kind of, if you guys go over to Ultrasound Money, I just wanted to showcase this annualized profits. This was kind of interesting right here. Let me kind of zoom in on that. You'll notice here that Ethereum, that's the ETH diamond right there. And these are the annual profits compared to some of the biggest companies in the world. There's Tesla, Disney surpassed, just about to encroach on Amazon. But I want to go to this next clip. This is a big one because it changes what I think is the future of how companies are going to utilize the blockchain. And it's no bigger than this company alone that could shift the dynamic in a lot of different areas, not only gaming, but including business. Listen to what they had to say from Roblox.
Do you ever see a moment where the platform itself becomes more open in the idea that, your currency is something called Robux, and whether those Robux could be used off platform, whether we've talked about NFTs and things that could live inside Roblox, but then get moved onto somebody else's platform or, in other ways?
Yeah, I want to highlight there's a bit of a dream here about objects and NFTs moving from platform to platform. We do believe someday, for example, I use the fun use case that someday Elton John may come on Roblox and make 8 or 10 1-unit really cool capes, for example, and sell them for charity. And we would imagine someday that those would go off platform as an NFT, possibly get sold off platform, and then come back on platform. What we do expect is the creators, whether it's Elton John or Nike or someone else making a digital item, that they would play a key role and have a fair amount of control in that process.
All right, so you heard it there, right from Roblox's CEO, that NFTs are coming. This is something that Roblox most likely now has in their roadmap. And when they pull the trigger on this, I can guarantee you we're going to see every company that is even within the hemisphere of competition with Roblox jump in a very big way, whether it's Meta, what we talked a little bit about Take-Two and what's happening with GTA 6, all those kind of things in terms of the gaming ecosystem. All this is going to happen at the same time. I feel like we are in that state right now. Now, when you think about people who are prepping for this, I have to kind of look at Cathie Wood, because Cathie Wood has been maybe making some of these very subtle moves that kind of align with what's happening in this innovation side of blockchain. If you just look at her trader's guide right here, showing Coinbase is her number one asset, then you've got further on down in here, guess what? DraftKings, big deal there in terms of using blockchain. Roblox coming in right behind it. Shopify, already known in the blockchain. And then, of course, you can see Robinhood right there as well. We talked about Robinhood yesterday, all playing towards Cathie's book, and that is understanding where the growth is happening around innovation and jumping in on it. So definitely a good one to watch. Just as a reminder, Rockstar Games to release trailer on the new Grand Theft Auto game. Is GameFi set to explode? This is the point that we talked about yesterday. If you didn't catch our Grand Theft Auto game, sometimes you might think that this doesn't apply to me, okay? And sometimes maybe we should change up those thumbs to get you to understand what that means really to the ecosystem, because it's more than just about gaming. It's about changing the dynamic of how business is done and how businesses grow in all sorts of industries. Gaming is just the one that's the low-hanging fruit. So go back and check it out, because it's a big deal. ETH Global is now happening. Get ready to dive into the world of Web3. This is going to be happening over in Turkey. And you're going to see a ton of new, protocols jumping up over there. A lot of new companies and projects jumping on in terms of the latest technology. Also good timing here. You got Lens Protocol. Let's don't forget about SocialFi. Now we have the millennials and Gen Z. These people are digital natives. They'll understand what Lens Protocol means. If you don't know much about Lens Protocol, we've done a bunch of videos on it. Think of it really as social identity and a social platform that's used across Web3 in the future. A lot of this will apply to all sorts of kind of industries and businesses. So check our videos out. We've done several, so just go back into our channel and you can find some of those. TED Talks Macro. Let's go here. This is kind of interesting. 2024 going to be wild. ETF speculation is now well underway. Sol is next. I don't know if I agree that Solana or others would even be next, mainly because of the regulatory environment, and we've got a little pressure on Solana with that until we get at where ETH, I think, is off the table in terms of a regulatory issue. And I think that's why we see fund managers starting to jump in. But at the same time, it's a good statement. I think the point is that you always want to look forward-leaning in new technology, because you can never be too critical of that. You just never know about how this stuff kind of moves to the next level. And if you think about Solana, I mean, it lines up, with the climate initiative in terms of just clean, type tokens. It's fast token. It's got, great transaction capability, and it's got a great clean record here. So could it be an advantage around that? Maybe TED Talks Macro is right. We'll see. Another one, of course, if you guys have not been watching this one, is Grayscale's Chainlink Trust. Absolutely exploded this past 10 days. Grayscale Chainlink Trust right there. So big explosion right there. Compare all of this to an interesting chart you guys will like, and that is the Amazon chart. If you just think about adoption, early stage adoption, this chart goes all the way back to 1998 when Amazon goes public. And of course, nice little run up. And then of course, everybody said, oh my God, it's going to, absolutely go nowhere. It went down to 7 cents. And this may be the period in which we're in right now with crypto. And that's where you saw this massive run up. Remember, this is still just August 2014 versus where this chart continues to climb. That's what it looks like on these massive adoption curves. So just understand this. Highly speculative. But if you are early in many of these kinds of technology adoption periods, these are the kind of things that absolutely are wealth makers. So definitely one to be watching. Is ETH in that bucket? Is Solana in that bucket? Are there other tokens out there that you guys think are in that bucket? Drop some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you're part of the Diamond Circle, congrats. You're in one of the best clubs out there. and it's free. And you get additional content from us. We drop our Web3 gaming show over there. I do our PB show over there. So there's additional content you guys can catch. And of course, if you want to catch me out there on Twitter, it's @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.